All right, welcome. Sorry, hold on. Had to fix the mic. All right, here we go. Elijah, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Not an emergency stream, a last second at the buzzer stream. We had to get one more in just because I was not going to get these videos out in time for the new year. And what good is a freaking top 5 list and a report card if we're not still in that current year? No one wants to see a top 5 2025 when we're in 2026. So I thought, what better than to do a live stream and just kind of go over all of it, right? So, hold on one sec. Let me get the chat box up. Keaton, what's going on? Loud and clear. Let's go. All right, cool. Elijah, what's up? I played Street Fighter Alpha 3. That's great. That's good work. Imperious Rex Collects, what's going on? Happy New Year, everyone. Almost. It's a little premature, but we'll take it. We'll take a Happy New Year. Damien Talks, what's up, dude? Love the Sagat comparison videos. Great work on those, by the way. I have to say it. Great work. Was fully engaged. It was great comparisons. Great points. Loved it. It was a great video. Great videos, I should say. It was a two-parter. But yeah, so I definitely don't want to beat around the bush too much. Obviously, I'll be talking to you guys, but yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Great series. Beautiful series. So we're going to do the Jada Toys report card for 2025. Now, while there are different opinions on how this year went for Jada, some feel like it was slower than others. But when you really break it down, it wasn't that bad of a year. Maybe for new characters, could we have wanted more? Sure. I mean, who couldn't have wanted more, right? But it's not to say that they didn't get a heap of figures still out. So we have to go all the way back. Man, you forget. It really feels though sometimes you're like, damn, that figure came out this year. Like a lot of them, it was like, god damn. I was like, that figure was it. That felt like it was 2 years ago. Honestly, it did. So we have to go all the way back to early 2025. And one of the first new characters that was going to include was going to be Blanca. The Green Man, the monster. Man, I was really excited for this figure. I was. What a great figure. I think, man, out of all the characters, I think since they had announced the line, one of the characters I had always been looking forward to was Blanca. And man, did they not disappoint. I think the head sculpts turned out really good. The articulation was about as good as you were going to get on a Blanca figure. I can't imagine Storm could even get anywhere close. Now, granted, Storm does have a very good Blanca figure in their collectibles line, but they do not yet have it in their 1/12th line, and I do know that he's part of the Alpha 3 series, so maybe eventually we see him, but until then, I mean, this is going to be a hard figure to beat, because I do like both the head sculpts. I think the effect piece is probably the best one they've ever done for a Street Fighter figure so far. Can't get enough Jada Street Fighter, my opinion. That's right. Dad's Expensive Hobby also enjoying your videos right now. Guys, if you are watching this on the archive or the watch back on YouTube, welcome, by the way. We are doing today my report card on Jada Toys 2025, and then we are going to do my top 5 figures of 2025. If you're watching on the archive or the rewatch, go ahead and leave a like. If you're here right now, just go ahead and leave the like. Subscribe if you're new. We're really going to try and push towards 3,000 subscribers. I never mentioned subscribers, but I'd love to hit 3K in 2026. So if we could do that, that'd be amazing. And Dad's Expensive Hobby is tired of all the female figures. He hates them. He says they're too sexual. He's not into it, and he's over it. But hey, that's another topic for another day. So what if he hates female figures? All of them. Not just the sexual ones. He just hates them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. He doesn't like the simp figures, but hey, there's a market for everything. If you've heard it once, you've heard it 1,000 times. Sex sells. And I'm sure, especially with the community that buys those figures, I'm sure they're a great seller. But we're getting off topic. We don't want to bury the lead here. But yeah, Blanca was I think Blanca was the first figure, right? Or I think I might have actually got Blanca and the next character at the very same time. So we got a total of 3 new characters. So a tie with Storm. There was no leader. Unfortunately, there's really no clear-cut winner out of but there is other things that come into play with what makes the report card. So what makes the report card? What product you got out? How was that product received? How was the QC? Did it match delivery times on when things said they were going to get out? Those are the things we kind of look at least that's what I did with the Storm Arena report card, and I'm not going to change anything for the Jada. So there was one more other character I was super excited for. His name was Sagat. And my God, this figure also, very, very nice. Came out right around the same time as Blanca. And he would be the second figure that we see in 2025, the start, just like we're going to see in 2026. We are going to see Balrog and Akuma, but Balrog getting pushed back till April, right around the E-Honda time. So, yeah. Wish Blanca had toe articulation, but other than that, it's been one of my favorites. Yeah, factual. I fell in love all over again with the Player 2 Cami color. Are you talking about the silver one? Forgot about that one, but yeah, she's on the list. And, yeah, so Sagat came out. He was a figure I was highly anticipating. If you guys watched the channel before, you know I'm Sagat stan, if you will. I love your content. I hope you hit 3K. Thank you. Thank you. Methhead? Does that say Methhead? Jesus. Meathead. Meathead. God, can I read? I'd love to also get on a 6th grade learning and reading level in 2026. XXL Meathead. Good God. Did I say Methhead? Oh, God. All right. Anyways, moving on. But yeah, so Sagat was the next figure that came out. And, it was absolutely amazing. I think it's also up to the top. Now, do I like it better than Blanca? I can't say that I do. I do think I actually like the Blanca figure just a little bit more. With this figure, I just wish it had a little bit more shading. I think it does look a little soft in the face. Again, I think if they could just do a little more shading, I think Jada's right there. Like, everybody gives Storm all this praise for their sculpting and everything, but Jada's sculpts are not bad. I just think it's the lack of detail where Storm really hits that detail. So I think that's one of the main things, but, yeah. So Sagat was the next figure to come out, and then this is where we really start. We don't see a new character until May. From Jada Toys. So we get a little bit of a down period, if you will. So we started off with real hot, scorching hot with the Blanca and Sagat. Arguably their best figures that they've done throughout the line so far. I really have a special spot for Guile, too. I think Guile's right up there with being one of my favorites for sure. But then, let's see, I do think, okay. I gotta remember, because there's a lot that happened. But yeah, then we move into the variants, and we would see a lot more variants this year than I think this would be more than any other year. The next one we see is gonna be Player 2 Fei Long. Now, we weren't sure where this was gonna end up. We actually saw this leaked in the 2024 era, and this Sagat was only soft in the sculpt because the game. Yeah, but I do think that I think people are looking for, so in the game he's soft, but you've seen Storm Collectibles Ultra Street Fighter figures. They I know he's soft in the game, but you can it's hard to explain. It just looks like it's more like it's just missing a little bit of that detail. Not a ton. They don't need to make it realistic, but it still looks very cartoony. But I feel like with just a little bit more shading, it could still look cartoony, but also look of better detail. Like better, I don't know. It just makes it look like it's I don't want to say cheaper because that's not the right word, but just, I don't know how to explain it. Like here, I wish Fei Long had just a little bit more definition in the muscle tone. Like he looks like a very, like he looks, I don't know. They're great sculpts. I just wish they had a little bit more detail to them. I don't even know how to explain it, but cheap is not the right word. But this would be the next one that comes out. Was this a con exclusive? I wanted to say no, not a con exclusive. This was actually on Pulse. So Pulse was where this one ended up showing up. I believe it's, I don't know that this ever sold out. We could double check that, but a lot of people like this Fei Long. They like the colors, purple. But you would see finally the figure that got lost in 2024. We thought we were going to see it at one of the cons, never showed up, but here it was at the start of 2025. Came with the additional yelling head sculpt, came with some nunchucks, additional hands, and people really like this one. I know it's definitely one of the better Player 2 Deluxe editions that's out there, even for being such a plain Jane character. Did I pick it up? I did not actually pick this one up. It's more just because I didn't have a love for the character. I had to draw the line somewhere, right? And, yeah, that's kind of where I drew the line there, was with, I wasn't going to get all of them, but, man, this next one that came out, I did get, and, this one ended up being kind of a hard one, and I think to this day is still pretty hard to come by. We saw a Target exclusive in Blue Guile. Your Storm SDCC Sagat was my Kith Ryu. Such an expense. Oh, yeah. Except that one was, I mean, yeah. Is that the most you've ever spent, Keaton, on an action figure? Was $100? I get the toys for the DLC and leave the figures in box. Yeah, that makes sense. Wish Blanca had toe articulation. Okay, but moving on. So this would be the next figure. So we are at a total of, so far, we're at 4. And we're looking at March right now. We're about March in the year of 2025. This is where we saw a Target exclusive Blue Guile, which never made sense. And a lot of people did speculate that this was made for Walmart, but Walmart was not yet really in the picture yet. They would come into the picture later on, where they would eventually also get this figure and put it up on their website. But this started off as a Target exclusive. P2 is widely available here in Canada. Surprised how many variants, including Blue Guile, are just chilling. I'm waiting for a sale. Really? Man, Blue Guile out here in the States is non-existent. And I don't know that it ever actually showed up in many Targets. I saw it once in Target and never again. So, and that's, I think, the case for most people. It would eventually show up again on retail, not shelves, but on a website of Walmart where you could order it. And I believe that was back in October. But man, this has got to be probably either 1 or 2 for my favorite Player 2 variant right now. I would say it's a tie between Dalsim and this guy. As far as just the straight repaint Player 2s, because this Player 2 did not come with anything additional. No different head sculpt, no different accessories, nothing like that. It literally just came with a different color, but the color is a great color and probably a lot of people's favorites. Kith Ryu is $125. Damn. That is your most expensive? I'm not that into recolors, but the Blue Guile reminds me of Street Fighter the movie, so I kind of want it. Yeah, dude, this is one of my favorite. I love the Guile figures, so I was all in on anything Guile coming out. Moving on along. I believe that is the last of the variants that we would see. We would finally see, this is March, April. We see a little bit of a lull here. Don't really see anything from Jada for a couple months, but then sure enough, we finally saw the pre-order and the execution of the figure we had been waiting on for a long time, and it was going to be Vega. And Vega, I think, was worth the wait. Man, Vega just kind of came and went. He came, people did their reviews, but you do not hear a lot of talk about this Vega. And I really don't know why. Because I think this is just an excellent figure. Um Again, the face, I don't even worry about the face on this one because whoever's rocking him with his Disney Prince face, you know, that to each their own, but he's wearing the mask at all times with mine. And I would be all in on any type of Vega variants as well. The sad thing is I just think that the sad thing is I think that is the best Vega figure, but I still not perfect. Well, there are no perfect figures. There are really good figures, but even the really good figures, there are no perfect figures. So I'm not really worried about that. But regardless, I think this thing, again, if I had to really sit down and pick my favorite Jada toy figures so far as in the Street Fighter line, it'd be really tough because this has definitely got to be up there. I love the articulation. Mine was a little bit, I don't want to say loose because that's not the right word. It wasn't like froggy, like when you shake the figure, like if the joints are really loose, like they shake or anything like that. But the bicep swivel was just almost borderline there, right? So I was a little concerned that my Vega was almost loose. The only other figure I had like a loose joint with from the get-go was Ken. And it was right in the same area. Does anybody else get like super, not loose, but like almost too smooth of a bicep swivel where it almost feels like it's loose already? That's kind of how my Ken and how my Jada Ken and this Vega was. So very disappointed in my Vega. His left arm is super loose. Gotta hunt for another. Yeah, I haven't even seen that's how mine wasn't super loose, but like I said, it felt like it was right on the edge of being super loose already. A green Vega is a must. Doesn't move as good as the SHF figure, but I think the Jada figure is easier on the eyes. See, I like the SHF one too, but this doesn't move that well. I love the movement on this one. I thought this was one of the better articulated Vegas out there. I think the sculpt, I think a lot of people were looking for more like a lanky, taller Vega, where this one's kind of like a little bit of a stout Vega, musclier, beefier, if you will. Your Vega's just pure loosey-goosey. I hate to hear that, but that would be the last new character that we see for Vega. Now, this is where we start to get into the grading for the report card of Jada Toys, where this is where it's debatable on if you start to ding them, because this figure was speculated to come out in April. And this figure really didn't hit anybody's hands. I got mine in May, but that's because I ordered mine from a Chinese vendor. You would not see this figure from Big Bad Toy Store until late June. Now, that's about almost a month and a half later than what was expected. In fact, I actually think this originally said March, if I remember correctly. Now, I could be wrong on that, but I do know that we were waiting a long time for Vega, and it finally came. So we started to see things come out a little bit slower. Now, whether this was right around the time, too, tariffs were starting to come into play heavily and starting to affect some things, and, shipping was obviously an issue with that. Now, whether it was part of tariffs, whether it was some things they had to fix with the actual figure, no one will ever know. No one's ever asked. But you have noticed that things have slowed down just a little bit. Now, is that a bad thing? Depends who you ask. Some people are fine waiting. Others are not as patient. That's the thing, is like everyone. The funny thing is, too, is everyone seems to think that Jada Toys is making their figures. It's like, Jada Toys is doing the best they can. Literally, they have nothing to do with the building process. They hand the instructions to a factory. So when you say a company cuts corners, this, that, it's not that it's their hurry and rushing figures out. You think they give these instructions and are like, hurry and make these. Don't worry about paint slop and all that. Just hurry and make them. That's not. It's a factory that makes the figures. You guys act like these are all like mom and pop stores where June is down in the basement, like putting together figures and painting them himself or something. They give these off to a. So I never understood when people are like, oh, they're rushing these out. They're rushing them. It's like, no, they're not. They give the instruction to a factory. Now, I can't imagine they're like, hurry and make these. It's like they just make them at a normal pace. I don't think a company like. Now, whether they were done with good quality or not, I guess could be like the attention to detail. That could be questioned, but I never really understood when someone was like, oh, they're rushing. It's like the companies don't make the figures. There's a factory that does that. So, again, the argument there. But have you Akuma and E-Honda? Have you? No, they're not out yet. And even I know there's reviews out there. But, no, I have not personally reviewed them yet. They haven't even released technically in China yet. And that's, there are other reviews out there where Jada has sent figures and, one other one where I'm like, I don't even know how they got a figure, but, but yeah, I'll try and, I think the first review you guys will see in 2026 as far as new characters is going to be Akuma. Vega looked like that in an entire anime movie for me, Street Fighter 2. The anime movie is a peak look for Street Fighter. Factual. Jada simply didn't stay vocal with the fans over the delays from tariffs. But if you were to ask them if any figures were delayed, they said no. So, I mean, it's each their own. It's not a big deal. But I do think when you have a new contender enter the race, I think Jada got comfortable kind of being the one-man wolf pack. The only man in the race where they felt like, they didn't really have to move along or anything. And it's still to this day, there will be people that'll say they don't need a rush. They're moving in a fine time, but they really can't do that anymore. And there's a couple reasons why. You literally have another company making the same figures as you. So if you want any type of success with your alpha line, you really need to start hurrying up this line, right? Because I know at the end of the day, there will always be people that collect every Street Fighter figure. I understand that. But you also got to understand that not everybody is a hardcore collector like that. They are going to pick and choose. And with Storm knocking at your door now, literally getting these figures out beforehand, I don't know that you catch people for Alpha 3. So it's like, no, yeah, they're moving at a fine pace for Ultra Street Fighter 2, but they're not working on that. You literally have another company making the same figures, and it's like, there will be people that buy both, but it's like, if they have to, if they're starting out with, just like if Storm started out making Ultra Street Fighter 2 figures now, I don't know that everybody would start buying those and, replace their Jada figures. I think a lot of people would stick with the Jada figures that they have. But, again, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, they're fine. It's fine. They can take however long they want. That's fine. But you now have other company making the same figures as you. It's like, how well do you want that alpha line that you're super excited for with your 2.0 bodies? That's where it's like, oh, okay, you might need to start speeding things up just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's all I'm saying. They can move at whatever pace, but when you got other companies now making the exact same game as you kind of have to kick it in the ass a little bit. But we don't want to bury the lead. I loved the Vega figure. Was he slightly delayed? That's up for debate. I feel like he was by like a month or so, couple months. But that would be the very last new character that we see. Now, to me, you guys let me know in the chat. I think that's a little bit of a downer. To have your very last character for the entire year, as far as new characters that we would see from the roster. And June, they asked June, they said, was Akuma and Balrog pushed back? They said no. Does that, as far as an expectation, does that, I feel like we've gotten more new characters in a year. I feel like we usually get 3 in the first half, 3 in the second half. But that, to you guys, do you guys feel like 3 new characters a year is good progress, fine progress, or needs improvement? Where would you guys put that? Because to me, I feel like 3, to have it cut off so early in the year as far as May, not even to June, but May, just seems like in the rest of the year, we would only see variants of deluxe and strict repaint. To me, it's like there should have been at least one more new character that hit in the second half, right? I would expect 3 a quarter. See, I think 3 a quarters. I would like to see at least 1 a quarter. Even 1 a quarter is only one more than they got out, but it's like I would have liked to have seen at least one more in the second half of the year, right? Like tried to push one out, because that's another thing too. While they're not from the same game, now you're getting really close to the time that Storm is going to put out their Balrog and Akuma. And you don't want that, because at the end of the day, if someone's only going to buy one Akuma and they see Storm and Jada's, I don't know. It could go either way. So that's another thing. It's like you also now have characters, even though they're not from the same game, they're the same character. Unless you're collecting both, which, again, there'll always be people that collect everything, but for the casual collector that's money's a little bit tighter, they're picking one. I don't know that Jada always wins it, unless they're just completely in on Jada, which could be a thing too. So that would be the last character that we see in May, and then we move on to the con circuit. So this is where we see our San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, and the very first one that we would see come out, I don't know that we actually got a product shot of that one, so I'm going to just do this one, would be Green and Bison. And wait, was the Big Bad Toy Store, was that also one? Does anybody know? Was that blue? Let me see when that came out. When did that blue M Bison come out? Was that 2025? I feel like that was 2024. Hold on. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. When did this release? I can't see it. When did this release? I don't know. When did this come out? It doesn't say. I'm looking at it on Big Bad Toy Store. When did the blue M Bison come out? Not this year. It was 2024, right? I think it was 2024, because it wouldn't make sense if they dropped a green and a blue in the same year, right? Repping the Florida Gators. Now, this is the first player, too. If you ask people, they will tell you that this was the original color that they wanted to see as far as a player, too. So I think people were also let down a little bit. It's like we already had an M. Bison. I think people were kind of looking for a DJ or a Cammy here. Or even another Guile. I don't know. I don't know where M. Bison stands on the popularity. But this would be green and gold. It would come with an extra new head sculpt, a smiling head sculpt. Actually, would it come with two? I think it came with two extra head sculpts. Two for the red and then two for the green. So quite a few accessories. It was a Comic-Con exclusive. And had some really cool things. Was this it? This would be the effect that it comes with, where he fits right inside that fireball. I think Jada will do better with Akuma, considering I can walk into my local GameStop, and buy them without pre-ordering. Yeah. It just hasn't been like that here in the States yet. But yeah, I know Canada's got a pretty good selection out there, so that's great for you guys. So he would get these effect pieces, $50, and then the very next one that would come out after him was going to be Mr. Stretch Armstrong himself with the Yoga Flame, was going to be Dalsim. And to me, it's very close. I think as far as the deluxe figure, I think this is the best one that they've done. I think everybody loves the Dalsim figure. I actually need a new Dalsim because mine's loose my Dalsim became loose after putting him in and out of Indian style sitting so many times. He's become loose at the ball joint at the waist. But this would be the second San Diego Comic-Con that came out, and I think this is the best one, in all honesty. Are you actually on bad terms with Mars, or is that a joke? You'd have to ask him. He stopped talking to me, so I don't know. I'm in fine terms with Mars. I had no problems. He's the one that said he wanted to stop talking, so you'd have to ask him. But yeah, as of right now, we don't talk to each other anymore. And then moving on from San Diego Comic-Con, again, just not a lot after that. We would see an announcement of Cammy at San Diego Comic-Con. We would see some more pre-orders. And as far as I had an interesting discussion. Yo, Mario, what's going on, dude? Do you guys count pre-orders as part of a successful year? Like, Storm put out a bunch of pre-orders. Are you guys counting that as a successful part of their year? I don't count that. I don't count that as being like a pro or con for the company. It does like keep their name out there. I guess it's good marketing, if we want to put that into a category like marketing. But I don't really count like a bunch of new characters being like, that's not part of the year. Like literally Marvel Legends could do that. They just don't do that because they save that kind of stuff for the live stream. So yeah, I know if you do, I think Mars does count that as part of being a successful year, is announcing that pre-order stuff, where I always argued that any of these companies can announce, way into the future what they're releasing. It's just they don't, because it kind of ruins things later on down the line. Because if you look at Storm now, they haven't announced anything new forever. So, but yeah, I don't really count that. But this would be the last two. And then at that, do I have that picture? I could have swore I did. Let me see here. The very next thing we would see from Jada, one of the last we would see, the second to last that we would actually see from Jada, is going to be, can I find it? Would be Cammy. Silver and pink Cammy. I know Keaton loves this figure. A great variant. But again, just a repaint, nothing deluxe. Literally, the only thing that changes about this figure from her previous release is going to be she goes from green jumpsuit and a red beret to a silver jumpsuit and pink beret with pink gloves. So that would be literally one of the last, an Entertainment Earth exclusive with a little bit of a price premium. Instead of the traditional $29.99, it was $32.99 for this. The pre-orders on Big Bad Toy Store get moved indefinitely. Yeah, I know, it's super annoying. Low-key, I mean, if they didn't post any pre-orders for Dan or Nash yet, we'd be complaining like Chun-Li. Factual. That was well handled, Nancy. You're talking about Mars. You were respectful and certainly don't throw Mars under the bus. Yeah, it is what it is. I wish him well. I am on fine terms in my opinion, but, his opinion toward me might be different, so I don't know. I can't see people who personally choose their colors when they play needing that figure, but I like default colors. Factual. And, so Cammy would be almost, at this stage, we thought Jada's year was over, because that would literally be the last thing that we see forever. But then come mid-fall, we get one last sneak attack as Jada and Kith announce, and, Keaton's favorite subject is the Kith figure. He loves a good Kith figure, especially this Ryu. He loves the Kith figure. It's his pride and joy. It's the center of his collection. Actually, I don't know that. He loves it. He loves it. It's his pride and joy. It's a special place in his heart. We bring Kith and Jada and Marvel Legends do a surprise collaboration for a true collectible figure. Now, I think there was some misunderstanding from the action figure community about what the hell this was. These were truly collectible figures. I think a lot of people saw like the normal Marvel Legends and be like, oh, these are just going to be for... You guys don't understand, or I shouldn't say you guys and generalize you like that, but a lot of the community don't know what Kith is. It's a high luxury streetwear brand. Now, it's not quite to the level of Louis Vuitton, but I use that example because it would basically be like taking a Marvel Legend and putting the LV on the box like a Louis Vuitton. Like, it adds value to the figure. Granted, even people that don't collect action figures, that collect Kith, went after these figures, and they're more of a collectible than they were just like your traditional action figure that you would take out of the box and pose in your collection. This was more supposed to be like an actual collectible piece. So I'm looking forward to when the storm glazing ends for Arena in 2026, when their second wave doesn't release until late Christmas, and they have 20 fig repaints included in pre-order hell. Oh, Colt Kid. Now that's not the Christmas spirit. I haven't heard anybody say anything. I hope Jada fails and put out 6 more colors like they did this year instead. Colt, you got to understand that Jada did absolutely nothing different or better than Storm this year as far as releases. They both put out 3 new characters. So if you're going to say Storm is slow, then you got to say Jada's slow. Because they both only put out 3 new characters, and they both did about 6 to 7 repaints. So if literally you're saying this, if you're saying Storm is slow, then you're gonna throw Jada in that same conversation, because it's the same. They did Jada this year released Sagat, Blanca, and Vega, and Storm did Ryu, Ken, and Sagat, and those were it. That was it. So I don't want to hear this Storm slow thing, because they literally put out just as much. They actually put out 1 more figure in repaint than Jada did this year. So. And it was their first year in a true 6-inch. So, I do think that people that were mega fans of Jada, me included, because I was a mega fan, Jada's what started this channel, right? I think there's a lot of hostility towards Storm, because Storm just kind of barged in and stole the limelight. Like, didn't even say, like, hey, Jada, do you mind if we play? No, they just took the ball, and people, like, immediately just jumped ship. And I think people that were mega fans of Jada did not take kindly to that. So that Ryu's going for around $200 on eBay, which is wild. Yeah, that's a hard pass for me. Actually, if anything, Cammy improved the paint crack on her chest piece. Oh, that's pretty good. Kith Ryu, I skipped on it since I don't exactly consider it part of the main Ultra Street Fighter 2 line, unlike the other crazy alt colors. Yep. I'm a Capcom fan. I just want to collect cool figures. I've been waiting decades for a good Street Fighter figures. I can wait a little bit longer. We need a Blackie Ryu or a Ken from Arena soon. Well, I mean, with all the repaint Storm is doing, where's the evil Ryu? How hard could that figure be to make, right? Like, it's literally a darker tan skin and a black gi. Like, I feel like you're telling me they can make a fully purple translucent Ryu, but they can't just adjust the tone skin and make a black gi with some red eyes and call him evil Ryu? I don't know where that figure is, but we're getting off topic. So to finish up Jada, this would be the last official figure that we see from the 2025 season. Now, again, there were no known QC issues this year. I think a few. Blanca's, I were told, had the miscolored chest piece. Mine didn't really. I felt like it did for a second, but then kind of looking at it, it was not like any degree of Storm Arena's Sagat. But this would be the official, last figure that we see, and it was the last year. Jada's year ended in October, which is not even 4th quarter. Or wait, is it 4th quarter? Maybe it is. October. Yeah, it is technically 4th quarter. But that's not even like... Isn't Evil Ryu and Violent Ken not in Street Fighter Alpha 3, though? Evil Ryu is. Violent Ken is not in Street Fighter Alpha 3. But Evil Ryu is. For me, Storm has kept that same MO since Collectibles. I waited nearly a year for several King of Fighters and Street Fighter 6, and then some Storm delays and never finishes a line. Okay. Well, again, June literally said they were not planning on completing Alpha. It was more just an Ultra Street Fighter 2. I think there's an unfair expectation on finishing a line, because Marvel Legends has worked on a lot of teams for a long time and is still not finished a lot of lines. So it's not just the Storm thing. I do agree, though. But you have to admit that with the Storm Arena line, Collectibles is a whole nother animal. Like the arena line, they have stayed up to date. I think they've heard the talk about how their collectibles were delayed and all that stuff. They really pushed out a lot of products this year. Now, was it at good pace and good quality? That's another story. But they did get a lot of figures out this year. So, to total up the figures for this year for Jada Toys, it would be a total of 3 new characters. And then as far as repaints, they had the Purple Fei Long, Blue Guile, the 2 San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, Cammy, and then also the Kith, which would make a total of 6 Player 2 / different color deluxe variants, which would give them a total for the year 9 figures, where Storm did end the year with theirs technically at 10. I will be getting, everybody did get their purple translucent figures in time, so we did technically count that. So loudly waiting to complete the Serpent Society. Exactly. So there's plenty of lines that aren't getting finished, whether it's Street Fighter or other teams that are in different universes. But so I don't know. I kind of want your guys' opinion. Jada's last new character they released for the year 2025 was in May. Is that are you guys okay with that? Does it seem a little lackluster? Where are your guys' thoughts? I have my personal thoughts on where we're at. But I want to get yours. If you want to have it on the video, by all means, let yours. Dang, that's horrible. Anybody else? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? All right, forever hold your peace. Okay. So, I do count it as a little bit of a con. May, when we're not even really in the summer months yet, for completing your last new character for the year is a little bit of a con to me. I mean, we're talking June, July, August, September, October, November, December. We're talking 7 months without a new character. That's a long time. And I do think that the repaints and the Player 2s help keep the name out there and, people engaged in the product, but it's a long time to go without a new character, especially when your end goal is to complete this roster and your next game that you're working on, a company is viciously trying to pump out those figures. So with that being said, how was Jada's QC this year? I mean, granted, every company has QC every year, but there were no known major any issues. I would say Jada usually does a pretty good job. I would say the only thing, maybe the delay of getting new characters at the end of the year might be considered that. Again, June said they weren't delayed. I would tend to think that, what is he supposed to say? Oh yeah, we delayed those major. I mean, I don't know if he would say that. You don't think that Storm is viciously trying to pump out figures? Then I don't know what to call it. Because they are viciously trying. They have announced 11 alpha characters with already getting out 3 and 2 to be expected within the first 2 months of 2026. I promise you it will not be long before we see Mr. Lee fiddling around with a Dan figure, and then very shortly after that Charlie Nash figure. And then more Player 2 Sagats coming out. I promise you Storm is viciously trying to pump out figures. I don't feel bad about that word choice at all. But with that being said, I think Jada, 3 characters new, 6 repaints, delays, no known QC issues. I'm going to give Jada a B+. Just a little bit ahead of Storm. I think they did have the better year ultimately. Now, are they better figures than Storm? That's your own thing. I don't think I'm talking about the company and their production and where things met on time and what was released for the year. I gave them a B+. I don't think it was an A- year, because 7 months without a new character, to me, that dings ya. That's a heavy ding to me. So B plus, because no QC. Seems like there was a little bit of a delay. I think B plus. I do think that they beat out Storm this year. I do think they beat out Storm, ultimately. Now, you can argue all day, and you know it all comes down to preference, which figures you think are better. But as far as who had the ultimately best year, I do think Jada just... Now, next year's a whole nother question. Jada's got a lot to prove because they claim they're getting out every type. They claim Jada has a lot to prove in 2026. And I hate to say it's a make or break year because I think there will always be... I'm always going to be a fan of Jada toys. And I think there are a lot of people that love the charm of Jada toys. The way they are the godfathers. Let's never get it twisted. They're the godfathers. They're the godfathers that you see in the movie, right? They started this shit. There is no Storm Arena, in my opinion, without these guys. But you have another company that's coming in. A lot of people think they're doing it better, and they're moving fast. And they both are making a lot of heavy promises for 2026. Storm says they're going to get out Dan, Charlie Nash, Chun-Li, Akuma Balrog, and maybe Zangief. Where Jada says they're going to get out Akuma, Balrog, T-Hawk, Zangief, and then a couple, if not all of their Alpha 3 characters. They think they're getting out 8 new characters. So Jada literally thinks they're going from a 3 new character to 8. They're both cashing checks that I don't know that they got the money to cash. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. So that is a lot. And the fact that they put that out there like that, that's where I don't like some of the things they say sometimes, because I think they set up the expectation, but then, I don't know. I don't even like the expectation being thrown out there, because that's heavy expectation. Granted, if they went off the year that they had this year, right, where they just did 3 new characters, they wouldn't even finish Ultra Street Fighter 2 roster next year. In my opinion, let me know in the comments or in the chat, does Storm need to finish the roster next year? I think absolutely. If they don't finish the roster by the end of next year, because if we went off just this year, right, they would only get out Balrog, Akuma, and E Honda, and that would be it. We wouldn't see the end of the roster until early next year if we went off the way that they did it this year. If they don't finish the roster next year, I think I don't know. Like I said, they have to. They have to finish it. Or we might be in, we might be in trouble. Iceberg ahead trouble, I don't think Jada will ever go out of business or anything like that, but you gotta finish this roster and get started on Alpha. Jada had such a slow last half of the year, but the quality and evolution of their newest releases was great. Plus, the new Cyberpunk and Invincible releases next year with Street Fighter 2 will be nuts. Yeah, we'll see. That's the thing, Damien. That's the thing. It's like they're taking on they're focusing on a lot of other properties where it's like, let's not burn the steak and focus on the mashed potatoes and the corn, right? Your cash cow is Street Fighter. Let's not lose focus here, and I say metaphorically burn the steak. Like, we need to finish the roster next year. We do. And that's coming from a Jada Toys enthusiast. Like, we got to get it done. Because then you're just way too far behind in your Street Fighter Alpha 3 line. Considering they have never actually completed a line, yes. I'm making the prediction we will get Jada Alpha figures by the end of next year. Well, Damien, June said, now this is verbatim, that they would not release a single Alpha figure until the roster was completed. Now you're telling me, with that being said, that they went from this year only making 3 new characters, that you're saying they're going to get 8 new characters out next year. I don't see it happening. And I hate to be pessimistic, But you're telling me they're going from 3 to 8? More than double the figures they did this year as far as new characters? I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't think we see alpha figures until March or February of 27, in my honest opinion. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they have too many lines, too many properties, too many things they're trying to work on. They've got too many chefs in the kitchen. I don't think he's out of his mind. He can be. I hope that's the case. I do hope I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just saying to go from 3 new characters to 8, so that would mean next year to get those alpha characters out, they would have to get Balrog, Akuma, Zangief, E-Honda, T-Hawk all out by September, and then hopefully the alpha characters hit by quarter 4, which is October, November, December. So I hope that's the case. It just seems like a long shot, especially the way we saw things happen this year. But I'm rooting for him. I really am. Like, I know it seems like I'm always bagging on Jada, but trust me, I bag on Storm. Everyone acts like I don't bag on Storm. Guys, I literally made an entire video that said, what the hell are you doing, Storm? You're messing it up. You're sucking ass right now. I literally made a video that says another QC issue with Storm. But everyone sits there and says I glaze Storm. I'm not glazing Storm. I burn both companies. I hold both companies to the fire. I'm holding both of them accountable. When they both screw up, when I feel like they're screwing up. But that is going to be the year recap for Jada Toys. I give them a B+ for the year. I felt like it was good. Well, thank you, Damien. I appreciate it. I feel like you call it both ways. I'm not trying to shill for either company. I'm just saying I'm fine with Storm as well. At there, her Sakuma didn't look great, but now it mops Jada's. Well, again, it's more preference. I don't know. It's on what you... Because there are a lot of people that don't like the articulation on Storm. And some people like the articulation more than they like see me, I'm more of a sculpt guy. As long as it has pretty good articulation, then I'm good. See, I don't even consider McFarlane's pretty good articulation. I consider that like a C level, like a grade C level articulation. But guys, that is going to be my recap for the 2025 Jada Toys year. I gave it a B+. I thought just ending the year so abruptly with new characters in May just seemed way too early. I feel like we should have snuck in at least one. I'm not saying we needed to get all of them, like just one new character in the second half of the year. May is not even into the summer months yet, and we didn't see a new character. So I just thought with that, there was no real QC issues, but it just seemed like I agree with a lot of people. The second half of the year was to be desired, you know. I just thought we were going to see more. So, I think Jada, they stop at 3 versions per character, a player 1 and at least 2 player 2s. You know what's funny is we never saw, like, yeah, I guess that's true, because I really thought we would have seen more Ryus and Kens, but we never really saw anything other than White Gi Ken and then the Paul Mart Gray Ryu, and then they both got their evil and violent version, but we never saw anything after that. And Storm says, hey, we'll take one of every color. Do you guys want a purple Ryu? Do you want a white Ryu? Do you want a red Ryu? We can make them all. Dude, I'm scared. Like, you saw how many player 2s they pumped out this year just in their first year? Dude, Storm, you think McFarlane is bad at making color variants? Good God. I can't, dude, we probably could very well see 17, and I'm like not even being exaggerated on that. 17 like player 2s by the end of next year with the way that they pumped them out like this year. Like, not even in the first half. This is all in the second half of the year that they pumped out like 7 variants. It was nuts. So yeah, And I didn't even get them all. I was like, they're pumping them out too fast. But the last half of this stream, I was going to tell you my top 5 figures. A lot of people like I'm not a big list guy, right? I just don't. Top 5, top what? I'm not a big list guy. My top favorite figures of the year. Let's do it. Now, I don't know that these are going to be in any particular order. Because it's really hard. That's what she said. Super hard. Because there are a lot of good figures this year. Great year for action figures. Man, a great year. Beautiful year. I'm more of a sculpt guy. Yeah, like articulation. Like my collection does not have a lot of, like, my guys on my shelf are not doing crazy poses. So I gotta kind of find out where the year started. That's the problem I'm having right now. I'm like, which year was 2025? So, what year was this? Let me see, property. 24. Okay, that was 24. Let's get up to 25. I think we're right here. I think coming in at number 5 is the big guy. Damn, this man, what an underrated figure. You know what? I feel like it's underrated, but I've seen him on a lot of lists, so maybe it wasn't as underrated as I... For the size of this figure, and the look, and the accessories, he gets this big-ass symbiote claw. He gets the saliva for the mouth. He gets a change of alternate hands and an alternate head sculpt. Man, this was and the articulation for an 11.5-inch figure. This dude is monstrous. A monstrous figure. At number 5, I had Gamerverse Venom. And this thing, it was hard to keep him at 5. He could very well, I could argue that he could be higher, but man, this figure was really good. People love lists and it's easy to content to get people talking in the comments. Yeah, let me know if you're watching this on the rewatch. Let me know what your top 5 figures were of the year. The funny thing is, I don't collect. I only collect like 3. Like, I kind of wanted that InArts one. Coming in at number 4 was Sub-Zero McFarlane. No, I'm just kidding. Little end of the year joke there for you guys. Hell no. No, that's not number 4. I was joking. Number 4. Man, it's hard because I think number 4 is going to be Blanca. Blanca's going to be my number 4. Great figure, highly anticipated character. For me, McFarlane Sub-Zero, yeah, no. No, he wasn't number 4, I was joking. But number 4 is going to be Blanca. Jada Toys. Love that Blanca figure. Great figure. Number 3, now, against popular belief, a lot of people would probably have this higher. Not me. Well, maybe me. Who knows? Let's see. There's no way. What? Number 3 is going to be Ryu Storm Arena. Now, I know everybody loved the Ken, but man, I really like this Ryu. Blanca might be your figure of the year. I think Ryu's coming in at number 3. I absolutely love this figure. I like how long his tassels are. I think that's part of which makes him have such a cool look. But I love Jada Toys. Have you seen their Ryu? He's got even longer tassels than this on the back of his bandana. So, but yeah, number 3 was going to be the Storm Arena Ryu. Now, number 2. Number 2. So many good figures. There's a couple honorable mentions that I'll throw in here. But number 2 has been on a lot of lists. The Ken came with more accessories than Ryu. I don't even care. I'm not an accessories guy. If it were more head sculpts, then that's a different story. But if he came with more hands or effect pieces, I don't care about that stuff. I don't need hands. We've said this once. We've said it 1,000 times. We're more head than hands. We love a good head. We love head. We don't love hands. Number 2 is going to be Marvel Legends Wolverine. Man, what a good figure. I know he's oversized. That's all I've ever heard. My God, he's oversized, but he wasn't supposed to be, people say he was even oversized for his interpretation of the game. I don't think so, but, whatever. For the proportions, this figure made a lot of lists. In fact, I think some people even had him at the top. But no, we love a good head game. We're all about the good head game. Chaos Toys Superman, Chaos Toys Dark Vigilante Batman, Storm knockoff Ken, and Dulcine Purple, and 5 Blanca. It's a great year. I have this Wolverine at number 2, and then coming in at number 1. I mean, come on, guys. Does anybody have any guesses on what number 1 was? Is there any guesses? I already saw it. You got it. Sagat. Now, it's not just Sagat. I love both Sagats. So I'm actually putting both of them at number 1. I do prefer the stylization and the design a little bit over Jada's, but I think both are number 1. Both Sagat figures from both Jada and Storm are my number 1s. But I think I like Sagat's just the size and the sculpting a little bit better on Storm's. But that's personal preference. You can definitely like the Jada Toys one. In fact, they're sharing the top spot. I put both of them up there because I enjoy both figures very much. So, you know me, I'm a Sagat guy. So we are going to put both up there at number 1, but I will give the slight edge. There's an edge to Storms, but I love absolutely both figures. I think they turned out amazing. Jada's has a little bit better articulation, where I think Storms has better sculpting. So, pick your poison. They both have their benefits. Now, some honorable mentions. There's plenty of those for this. One of the main honorable mentions, man. This figure, I'm just a big sucker for animated series, and I have never owned a Mysterio figure before. And I keep hearing, I wish Turtle was in here, because he's like, there's no head underneath the bulb. Well, you can put one of these heads underneath the bulb and then put the bulb over the head. It doesn't have to have a headless. That's just the way they packaged it. So you could see both alternate heads, but you can put a head underneath the bulb. But this was definitely an honorable mention. The alpha look is one of the one remembering more of Sagat. He definitely needs a laughing head and a head. Yeah, that's where those player 2s are going to come in, Colt. That is where those player 2s, just like we got the new head sculpts with Ken and Ryu on their player 2s, that's where you're going to see that laughing head sculpt is probably going to be on those player 2 variants with the Sagat. So that's an honorable mention. Now, one I didn't even see on anybody's list, but god damn, it needs a mention. Maximum Spider-Man is an honorable mention, but Mess Toys, man, if I was doing a top 10, this figure would be on there for sure. My god. And this thing's expensive now. Mess Toys, I know it's considered bootleg, I guess, even though they are technically their own company, but they are using the Reveltech body. But man, that Spider-Man is such good quality for what it is. No, this figure was $30, but go try and find one for $30. They sold out multiple times, and now this figure runs about almost $50. I don't know, maybe I haven't checked in a long time, but last time I was looking, this thing was like $45, $50. So, Mess Toys is an honorable mention for sure. Maximum Spider-Man, definitely an honorable mention. Love that figure, even though I never technically ever opened it. But it looks great. He's in there. Is there any honorable mentions that I'm missing? Is there anybody else? Vega, obviously. I liked Vega. Another honorable mention. This guy. What a great figure. Huge. Great representation. Lacking in articulation. But man, what a great representation of the big guy, Juggernaut. I didn't have a Juggernaut, and I've literally almost bought the select one like 9 different times. But man, that looks good. Another honorable mention is... I got like 2 more honorable mentions. Is going to be Yujiro! Just kidding. My god. Not Yujiro. Another joke. Yujiro is not an honorable mention. Let's see. Ken, obviously. Good honorable. I think that's it. I don't know. I think we nailed it. I think those were my favorite figures of 2025. With the honorable mentions. But, yeah, I think that's it. I think we wrapped it up in a nice little, neat little package here for you guys. I think that's gonna be it, right? I think that's it. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that I could have potentially missed. So number 1 figure of the year comes down to the 2 Sagats. Those are your champions for... Now, granted, it's funny because this is the only picture where I have both of them. He's got the one. Honorable mentions: Jada Toys, Turtle Van, Juggernaut, Game Reverse, and In-Art Batman. In-Art Batman, I almost bought that figure like 3 times too. What do you think, Soda Street Fighter action figures? What do I think? I think they're still great sculpts. I heard they were very fragile. Not even now, but for their time, they were very fragile. I think Soda Toys was ahead of its time. Their sculpting was next level. For even today, a lot of their sculpts still hold up very good. The SH Figure Art Street Fighter figures, which I still own, always hold a special place in my heart. Yeah, I mean, it's all nostalgia and what you grew up with. But yep, so I love the Sagat figures. Anything Sagat, I'm all about, and I think both companies did fair representation of both. Both have their ups, both have their downs. Downs being for Jada, I think the sculpting is still just a little bit soft. Um, and then I don't know. Again, somebody pointed this out. His legs are so far down his leg articulation is very down the shorts, where Jada's is the articulation piece is more towards the top of the hips. It's almost like the articulation is within the thigh region almost on Jada's. It's just a lot further down than Storm's. But love both figures. I think a lot of companies did great, but man, 2026, if you are a Street Fighter fan, buckle the flip up, because you are within the first couple, even within the first couple months of 2026, we are going for it. The Figure Report, ahoy hoy, what's going on? Shout out to the Figure Report, aka Figures Not Included. Make sure you check out their podcast and also their YouTube and Instagram. You can type in the Figure Report. You can also type in Figures Not Included on Facebook. They got the big 2-hour exclusive with June. That's sweet. That's gotta be sweet. But yeah. So guys, 2026 for both companies are making a lot of promises, cashing checks. June, in that interview, says that they were going to finish 8 new figures for next year. I sure hope that's the case. That would be an epic year for Jada. And, well, Storm is, they're not far behind with making they think they're going to do Dan, Charlie Nash, Chun-Li, Zangief, Akuma, and Balrog. They think they're doing 6. I mean, that with probably 15 Player 2 variants. So it's going to be a big year for Street Fighter. It's going to be a big year. I don't know. Marvel Legends hasn't really announced anything where I'm like, oh, wow, gotta have. Marvel Legends, yeah, their last stream was pretty booty cheeks, but I think Marvel Legends had a pretty good year this year. Storm needs to get better with their releases. No Darkstalkers yet. Hey, they're focused on Street Fighter, man. That's one thing I'd like to see Jada focus a little bit more on. They're burning the stake and focusing a lot on the other lines. I'd like to see them finish the Street Fighter Ultra line. But we'll see, man. I think next year, Jada and Storm can have epic years. And we'll do this all again next year at the end of the year. In this year, I think Jada beat out Storm. I gave Jada the B+ for the grade, and I gave Storm a B. Storm just had way too many QC issues. There was trouble with shipping. I just think Jada's year ended way too soon. The last new character we got ending in May definitely dropped them down from an A to a B+. Where I was like, the last character can't be Vega. I know that you asked June if Balrog and Akuma were delayed, and he said no, but man, their expectation could not have been, hey, Vega's going to be our last character that we drop for 2025 before summer even hits. So, I mean, I didn't know what I was expecting him to say. Oh, yeah, we had huge delays. I didn't think he was going to say that, but I thought he'd say, maybe we ran into a snag that pushed us out a month or two, but yeah, a lot of gaps. I don't know. I just think that Jada, I wish they'd focus. It does seem like, I wish Jada would do what Storm's doing. I know they hate that, but Storm is definitely focusing on the Street Fighter aspect. They have other lines that they're working on, but they're still mainly focused on Street Fighter, where it's like, Jada's like, oh, we're going to go focus on Invincible and Cyberpunk and the mascots. It's like, or you could focus on the line that really puts you guys on the map in your Street Fighter figures so we can get Ultra 2 finished. If they don't Figure Report, if they don't finish the roster next year, I think that has to happen. Like, it has to. They have to finish I don't care if they get Alpha out next year. They have to finish the roster next year. Because if they only do, again, the 3-figure thing that they did this year, I just think we have to sit down and think we've got way too many things we're working on then. Because I just don't feel like we have to. Cyberpunk's getting in the way. Mascots can be put on hold. Like, people want the roster finished. It's got to be finished next year. They just got to. Because if they don't finish it next year, then why even do Alpha? Because now we're way too far behind in Alpha with Storm releasing as much as they say they're going to release. But hopefully Storm fumbles and they're, yeah, you know, I'm not going to say hopefully Storm fumbles, but maybe they fumble. I don't know. But yeah, so Jada beats out Storm this year, in my opinion. B+ to a B. Storm had too many QC issues, while Storm ultimately got out more figures than Jada this year, 10-9. They both got the same new characters, Jada being Sagat, Blanca, and Vega, and Storm getting out Ken, Ryu, and Sagat. And then Storm got out 7 Player 2 variants, and Jada got out 6. So that's 9-10. Yeah, did you see, though, Balrog got pushed back on Big Bad Toy Store to April? He was originally slated for February with Akuma. Well, Akuma now says late January on Big Bad Toy Store, but on Big Bad Toy Store, it says Balrog's not going to be in until April. So, we did a video on that. Found it concerning. Which really concerned me if they're trying to finish out the roster. Especially Vega being the last character that we got in May. So did McFarlane get Playmate Turtle license and losing DC? Any thoughts? I don't know. I don't know about that. I did see Playmates was not... I don't know if they were losing or just not renewing. It's different. It's like, are you losing the license or are you just not renewing? It sounds like they're not renewing the Turtle license more than are they losing. Are you only counting SF figs? I know Jada put out more than that. Yeah, I only do the Street Fighter because if I count all the properties, then I have to count mascots. I have to count Cyberpunk, Mega Man. I got to count Scooby-Doo. I'm not counting all that because then with Storm, I have to dabble because Storm only had one other property that they released in Baki. So I was just doing the Street Fighter stuff because that's like the main thing we cover here on the channel. But yeah, so we'll see. One thing that I did want to know, like, what were we talking about? McFarlane. Oh, here's a thought. What's going on with the Mortal Kombat license in McFarlane? McFarlane is the king of announcing new figures, and how come we haven't gotten any updates on Mortal Kombat? Is that what he's going to do again? Where he spaces out the Mortal Kombat releases just so far that everybody loses interest again? Like, McFarlane is known for pumping out figures. How have we not gotten any new character announcements for, like, literally the last characters we were updated on were Melina and Sub-Zero, and then, was it Scorpion and Reptile? Who was it? Storm doesn't put out Vega, Cammy, DJ, but have T-Hawk in production. Yeah, that's their collectibles line. I'm not really covering Storm's collectible line much anymore. I'm kind of giving up on their collectibles line, to be honest with you. Playmates definitely lost the master license. No way they wouldn't renew it if it was their choice. I don't know. They lost a lot of money. I don't know if you saw their earning reports, but they lost a lot of money on that license this last year with overproducing on those movie figures. And man, yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it was too big of a hit where they just were like, yeah, it makes us a little money here in our classic Ninja Turtle stuff, but man, they took a big hit with that movie stuff not moving as well as they thought it was going to. So I don't know. Maybe you're probably right. They probably lost it, but I wouldn't be shocked if they said, yeah, that was a blow to our pockets. Because their quarter 3 was awful, and that was all during the time of that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie thing. So, I don't know if you guys actually look at the earnings reports on this stuff, or how deep you guys check into the toy stuff, but I definitely pay attention to, like, if they have, like, earnings reports, I try to check them out if I can, see how things are going. Because it definitely affects on how toys are going to moving forward. So, someone else needs that line. It's awful. McFarlane, awful. Well, maybe, I'm hoping that's the case. Hopefully they lost the license and somebody else picked it up. McFarlane is focusing on deluxe figures for $60. Yeah, I was a sucker and ended up buying one of those spawns. So, I did buy a spawn. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't buy a spawn. I bought a spawn. Or at least I have one pre-ordered. It seems like people really like the spawn. I don't know, man. And then, I kind of want the Dark Knight figure. But why did he not do any additional Heath Ledger faces? Or Bane mask? Or give Bane an extra coat or something? Like, McFarlane's like, they're smart in a lot of places. But man, they are dumb in a lot of places. They're more dumb than they are smart, which is frustrating. Oh, what the? Whoops. But yeah, Jada gets Turtles, SD. Dude, Jada does not need any more licenses. They don't. Frankly, they have too many as it is. We all bought a spawn, begrudgingly. It's sold out everywhere, seemingly. Yeah, I saw that too. What's your goals for the channel 2026? I'm going to do a face cam, face reveal, so you guys will see what I look like. I don't know when that'll be. Should be in quarter 1, possibly quarter 2. We'll see. Little quarter joke there for you. But I'm going to plan on doing face cam. I have a face cam. I could literally turn it on right now if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do it yet. I was going to do a face cam, I think, unless you guys don't want me to. Which, it's harder for me to market myself and, like, go on different people's channels without a face cam. Like, no one wants to just see my logo. So, that's the only reason I do it. But I want to hit 3,000. I don't really push for subscribers, but I'd love to hit 3,000. I don't really care. Views is all I really care at the end of the day. Like, you can have 1 million subscribers. If no one watches your stuff, then it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. But I would love to get an interview with somebody like June, or I don't think June likes me. I really got that sense on the Figure Reports interview, because he stopped using my name at one point, which made me think. He said another person like, I have a strong feeling that June knows me, or at least is aware of me, and does not like me. But that's, hopefully not the case, but I just have a suspicion of it. And then I would love to get an interview with, Storm. Dude, did you guys hear that a lot of people are filing reports on the lack of customer service from Storm? Did you watch the E-Honda review by Mars? I didn't. I didn't watch it. I did hit... No, I'm just kidding. I watched it. Yeah, it was good. I'd like to hit 400, not 1,000. Just 400. Oh, that's an easy one, Keaton. I can help you hit 400. That'll be easy. I don't think Jada will go past Mega Man 3. They have slow production to try and complete all the Robot Masters between 3 games. I just think at the end of the day, Jada has taken on way too many licenses. They're not huge. They're not Hasbro. The cereal mascots are fun, but it's like, can we not focus on Frosty the Snowman and the Flintstones and finish the roster and, like, make some ground on your cash cow in Street Fighter, you know, the brand that gave you all these opportunities and really put yourself in the, that kind of started the wave for like everything video game figures. I wish they would do that instead of getting Fred and Barney Rubble. I love Mega Man, but Funko failed with the license, so Mega Man is a bit of a hard sell. I just think at the end of the day, I think that people like the game more than they... You guys got to realize that you may love the game, and there might be a big fandom for the game, but there's a difference between being a fan of the game and wanting to own an action figure of the game. Like, people tell me all the time that King of Fighter has a huge fan base, but when I go back and look at Storm collectibles and other things, like, how many, is it as big as fan where they want people to have a 6-inch figure of those characters? I don't know. No, I love the Flintstones too, but it's like, what ones would you rather have? Would you rather have T-Hawk and Zangief or Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble? It's like, I feel like most, if they put out a poll, hey, who would you guys want to see us finish first? Barney Rubble and Fred Flintstone and Frosty the Snowman or Zangief and T-Hawk, I'd be like, I feel like a majority of people, I think that'd be a pretty lopsided poll. But I don't know. Was that leg on E Honda one-off copy issue from Mars Review? I don't know. I know nothing about it. Me and Mars don't talk anymore, so I don't know. I don't know anything about the video or how he got it or anything like that. The reason King of Fighter has a strong fan base is between the arcades. King of Fighter was the best game for your value. Get to play 3 characters in one match, so yeah, no, I get it. I get that there's a fandom. I have no question in my mind that there's a fandom for King of Fighters. But is there a big enough fandom that people want them in action figure form? That I don't know. People love Dexter. People love Sopranos. Do people want Sopranos action figures? Actually, people might actually want Sopranos action figures. I should watch what I say. But it's like, you know what I'm saying. It's like, do people want action? Do people love it enough to want a full line or action figure of it? I don't know. There's a difference in the fandom there, I think. A little bit. So, it's just a little bit different. It's like, what you think would sell doesn't sell. It's like gargoyles. It's like a lot of people like that gargoyle. Okay, I'm not going to say that because somebody's going to say, oh, everybody loves the gargoyle NECA figures, except they freaking sit on shelves like nobody's business. And then they started selling out, and now they have like a huge price tag. It's so weird with action figures, man, and how that works. It's like literally the figures that sit on shelves forever, once they're gone, like jump up in price. Because you and me both know that freaking NECA gargoyle figures would clog up the collector spot at Target. And then now all of a sudden, some of those are starting to go for buku bucks. Which is crazy. But yeah, guys, on that note, that is a wrap for 2025. Jada Toys takes the year with a B+ with 3 new characters, 9 player 2s. Storm, unfortunately, just had delays and a lot of QC issues. While having a great first year, they get the B. Jada gets the B+. And then, as far as my top 5 figures, it was Venom. Then it was Blanca. Then it was Ryu from Storm. And then it was Wolverine, Gamerverse. And then my number 1 figures was a tie between Jada's and Storm's Sagat. So, little New Year's Eve special stream for you guys. I was going to make videos, but there wasn't enough time, so I thought let's just do a live stream. And that was going to be it. But hopefully, If you guys missed the stream and watch it back on the cast, let me know what your top 5 figures of the year were. Where did you give Jada on theirs? The only reason Jada got a B+ is I didn't like the way they ended their second half of the year. That was it. So, I wish the last figure wasn't Vega in May. JBTMR, what's up, man? Hope you're having a good night. Good New Year. Unfortunately, you caught the tail end of the stream. That's okay. All you guys that kind of showed up toward, anyways, I love it. Your boy wouldn't sleep. No worries, man. No worries at all. You didn't miss much. We just wrapped up the year. But I will see you guys come 2026. It's going to be a big year. Epic year for Street Fighter stuff. Jada and Storm. I can't wait to see who comes out on top. I'm sure it'll be filled with highs, lows, a little bit in between. And it's going to be great. And we'll be there for all of it. So if you are catching the cast on the rewatch, go ahead and leave the video a thumbs up. Thumbs up before you leave if you're in here, if you can. Whether it's up or down, I don't care. I appreciate all of you that stayed in here with me and participated. Shout out to everybody that commented and was engaged. Love that. And we'll see you come 2026. It's going to be a big year. And I think my first review, I'm getting those purple translucent figures on the 2nd. So I think that should be the first video of the year. But other than that, guys, I will see that. I will see you guys on the next one, which should be those Storm Arena purple figure, Ryu. And then we'll move on from there. I appreciate all you guys. I want you to have a safe and happy New Year. And we'll see you then. Richie Figs. Later. 9, 8,